Hello everyone, GoldenNova here. Over the past few weeks I've been participating in Cypher Card's A-to-Z Yugituber Tournament. It was really fun, and now I want to walk you through my journey, show you what I played, and then comment on my performance. You won't see anything that's relevant to any of today's formats, but I still think there are some good lessons to be learned here, and you'll see some matchups that you won't get anywhere else. However, before we continue, I wanted to ask really quick if you could please like and subscribe if you've enjoyed my content so far. That way you can stay up to date on new releases, and my brain makes the happy juice when good numbers go up. Oh, and ringing the bell is a pretty good way to stay on top of things as well. They'll let you know exactly when a new video is available and whenever I go live for my weekly streams. Thank you for your patience. Now back to the video. So how did the tournament work? Well, once 26 participants answered the tournament call, a letter of the English alphabet was randomly assigned to each one. The goal was to make a deck primarily using an archetype that started with that letter. So if you got C, you got to pick Crystal Beasts, Crystron, Cyber Dragons, any of the Cs. The only exceptions were that you couldn't pick a number of meta archetypes that saw major success over the past few months, just so that the people who got A or E didn't just sweep the field with rocks or zombies. The tournament is set up with a double elimination bracket, so I had one extra life before it was game over for me. Otherwise, games would unfold much like any other. Best of 3 matches with side decking, which was particularly fun considering there isn't an established meta to side against. But now that the stage has been set, it's time for the big reveal. What letter did I get? Well, much to my chagrin, I got neither G nor N, which would have been great for branding, but we did get W, one of those odd later letters that don't get used much, so my options were pretty limited from the start. I could have picked Wind Witches, but that was a pretty linear deck. You get one really good play and not much else. Witchcrafter got a lot of new support recently, but I didn't quite feel confident enough to pilot all the new interactions. I could try to bring back the old glory of Wind Up, but you still can't hand loop, so that was out the window. And Weather Painters? Well, to be honest, that was my first choice, but after doing a few test hands, I started getting really intimidated by the main mechanic of the deck, so I decided to take a pass on him. And that left just one option, the poster children of the Link era, World Chalice. Full disclosure, when looking for knowledge on play sequences and builds, a large influence came from ScrubTierYGO's recent video on the subject. There are a number of changes to accommodate the format, but it's largely based on their build, so huge thanks to him for the help. Here's my version of the deck I piloted. We're playing 3 Agent of Creation Venus and 3 Mystical Shine Balls to match. They're basically our best normal summon, they're a 1-card Saryuja and help set up our Gamera negate. Our World Chalice lineup consists of 2 Beckoned, 2 Chosen, 3 Lee, 3 Guard Dragon, and 3 World Legacy World Chalice. We're also running 1 World Legacy World Crown. Now, the original version of this deck ran Crusadias, which was a really great way of getting more material on board to get your link climbs working. But while I felt justified in keeping Venus because they've been the backbone for World Chalice builds since they started, we would have had to run a ton of Crusadias, and I feel like that would be against the spirit of the tournament. However, World Legacy World Crown is a world card, so I think that counts. We're running 1 Gamma Seal and 3 Kyoto Waterfront. The idea is to get the field spell as soon as possible, accrue counters via link summoning, search Gamma Seal, then summon it out with Saryuja so we have another negate. We're running 3 Pot of Avarice, which is absolutely incredible in this deck. Not only do we get to recycle used link monsters, we can also recycle the Mystical Shine Balls to summon off of Venus again later. We run 2 Unexpected Die, an excellent way to get material on board so we can make Imduk. It also combos very well with 2 copies of Transmodify. If we don't have a Venus, we can use Unexpected Die to summon a Mystic Shine Ball, then transmodify it into Venus to get the ball rolling. We're running 3 Called by the Graves to help avoid hand traps. We're not very good at playing through them. We've got 1 Monster Reborn and 1 World Legacy Successions to help with extending, 3 Infinite Impermanence to help protect our board or keep our opponent from establishing their own when going second, and 1 World Legacy Sorrow to help keep with the link theming, and also another card that we can search off of Lib. In the extra, we're running 1 Ningirsu, 1 Ebe, 1 Avram, 1 Imduk, 1 Lib, 1 Avramax, 1 Link Spider, 1 Relinquished Anima, 1 Salamangreat Almirage, 1 Nightmare Phoenix, 1 IP Masquerena, 1 Trigate Wizard, 1 Nightmare Unicorn, 1 Saryuja Skulldread, and 1 Access Code Talker. For the extra, I wanted to go as wide as possible to catch as many different themes as I could. So we're running 3 Artifact Lancia, 3 Galaxy Cyclone, 3 Evenly Matched, 3 There Can Be Only One, and 3 Mistake. Now, it's time to take a look at what I played against. So game 1 we're playing King Scarlet Yu-Gi-Oh! Who got the letter A, and when I saw Layer of Darkness I was
at a loss for what I was dueling. So whenever I go for Kyoto Waterfront and just the Lee the World Chalice Fairy, I'm kind of like trying to play cautious here. I don't know what I don't know what to expect. Now, knowing in hindsight that it was Amorphages, that was pretty cool. Like, oh man, you can use my monsters for your upkeep costs on your scales. That was pretty cool. Unfortunately, this does cost me. As you can see, I do have basically full combo in hand. I got Venus. The Mystical Shine Ball in hand isn't optimal, but had I gone for it, I likely would have been able to make more of an impactful play than just Lee pass. But unfortunately now, King Scarlet Yu-Gi-Oh's advantage is just going crazy right now. Now that they can 2-for-1 my cards like Ballista Squad, tributes to the Venus, and then destroys my set card, now I'm just out of the game, because Mouse is gonna start getting them back traps, and now they got Lilith, so they can start tributing my monsters to get new traps, and there's not anything that my deck has or is equipped with to get around multiple removals like that. So, yeah, as you can see, another Kyoto Waterfront does not actually change much of anything. So when they solidify their game position by activating the Sanctum, like, even if I had drawn something, like, there's little to nothing I could have done. There's no main deck card, I think, that I would have access to that would get me out of this. So yeah, they attack over the Lee, which would have been a great defensive wall in any other situation, but no, the Scythe just punches over that, and we have to give him game 1. So game 2, I definitely opt to go first. I do not want the trap deck to set up with all their traps. Let's see here. So we were able to get this far into the combo. We didn't open Venus, so unfortunately we can't just go instantly into Saryuja and shuffle back the Gamma Seal that we drew. I will marvel at the amount of times that we played through this deck and were able to open with the Gamma Seal, but not the Kyoto Waterfronts. Thankfully, Lib is very good at getting us extra material. World Legacy Succession is just, oh hey, a free monster reborn just for no reason? Cool, I'll just summon it to a link point. Unfortunately, we didn't go crazy here. We just got the one Saryuja, and then the set There Can Be Only One, which I was really banking on as being a way to deal with all these tokens and fiends. But Galaxy Cyclone said otherwise. But thankfully, the Karma does get swapped around here because I believe, yes, we top deck our own Galaxy Cyclone here, so we do not get just obliterated by every tribute trap that they've got set back there. We go and play Unexpected Die to get the Mystical Shine Ball, and here's an example of being able to use that to get to Venus. Because of that, we are short a Mystical Shine Ball, and I believe we'll be able to make something here. Okay, yeah, we're able to banish the Chalice so that we can get a World Crown. We'll go ahead and use Phoenix to discard a card so that we can get rid of, what is that, the Super Polymerization. Not quite as impactful now since we're not dealing with the layer to just fuse away our cards. But by spamming enough material, we did get an Access Code Talker, and that is just a card that seals up games all on its own. Oh yeah, we were able to get up to 4,300 attack too, so it puts our opponent on a pretty severe clock. We're able to just, since you can't respond to it, we just go ahead and get rid of the trap cards so that they don't do anything silly. We do a link play specifically to get enough link monsters engraved to destroy the monster so we can just attack directly for game, and that's how we get game 2. So now Scarlet gets to go first, but thankfully their trap lineup is not ridiculous right now. But they do flip up a Sanctum to get Scythe, and they do get a trap trick to put a Lost Winds to set up for later turns. So we don't have a lot we can do to move our game plan forward, but we do play Unexpected Die so we can get a tribute material to tribute set the Chalice, because it doesn't have to be sent to the grave as link material, it just has to have been normal summoned or set. So when they run over it with Scythe, we get 2 monsters that Lilith can't run over, and so we're able to move over to the next turn with a huge hand and materials to make link summons. We make the Phoenix and target the Lost Wind specifically to get rid of an interaction that they have. I don't want to invest all this in invest Venus into making some monsters, and then just have it being negated and stopping us all there. So I figured that Phoenix would be a good way to guarantee that goes through. We link someone for Unicorn to get rid of the other live trap. The other 2 were set this turn and not by trap trick, so we don't have to worry about them. We'll go ahead and link it to Lib so that we can get an extender in succession. And then we have enough material to make Access Code Talker. Lib will shuffle the monster back, and now we're just getting as much advantage as possible. We're looking for a way to end the turn right now. Now that we have Kyoto Waterfront, we can start just sending things to the grave so that we can get Gamma Seal. Not that we have the Saryuja to do it, but it's a good deck thinner and it sets it up for later. Now, thankfully, we are able to end the game right now. I wanted to make sure that I got Ningirsu and Ebe on the field at the same time so that it was a brother-sister combo to finish off the game. But yeah, with that, we were able to take round 1. Round 2, we have to duel Spanko Yu-Gi-Oh! They got G, so I was thinking, okay, they've got like something like Gladiator Beast or something. I totally forget that Generator is a legit good deck now. I think I'm suffering from a lot of, oh, well, it was janky and weird when it first came out, so there's no way that it can consistently put in results, but I'm about to be proven expressly wrong here. We aren't able to get to Kyoto Waterfront, unfortunately, so the best thing we can do here is summon the Gamma Seal that we hard drew, just as a blocker, and then set 2 and pass to them. They are about to play through all of our interaction here. They get the boss stage, they get the Girsu. Once that's all made, they're able to link Haribo into Lib, because that World Chalice World Armor makes her live, which is absolutely ridiculous. We go ahead and use Called by the Grave so that they don't get the free revival, but they still make Lib into Link Cross, and that forces our other Called by the Grave. And that just paves the way for them to make the Fusion Trishula, and this is where I realized just how good that card is. Once again, it's one of those things where the card itself isn't that good. They aren't able to activate any of Fusion Trishula's actual effects, but it is a level 9, and as we'll see, that does help facilitate Generator plays, and otherwise it's just a big, humongo monster they can fight with. They're able to lock us out with effects interaction at this point, though. Lopter turning one of the tokens into Har means that searching will punish us, and anything that we do, the first effect activation is going to get negated anyway because they still have plenty of tokens for it. We'll go ahead and make Ningirsu, trying to make something bigger to protect our life points. They'll try to negate with Nidhogg, but we have the impermanence for that one. Not that that's going to do us much good. We're at 2200 life points, and then they make the VFD. And for turn, we get the infinite impermanence. Even if we activate it here, it's not going to do much. They get to summon the Har and fill up their zones. At this point, we've basically given up. Even if I set it, it's not going to do us much. There's nothing that is going to stop that's going to keep me alive this turn, so I don't bother setting it. And then they swing it for 3,000, and that is the end of game 1. We don't want them to set up like that again, so we're going to go first. We do have a pretty good combo in hand, despite the fact that we hard drew the Gamma Seal. We're going to go ahead and search the Chalice with Lee, and then make the Imduk so that we can use that extra normal summon. Then we'll link away the Chalice, but then they drop the Ash Blossom in response to the summon effect. We don't even have the Called by the Grave in hand to stop it, even though we were able to draw the one of Gamma Seal. Again. They're going to go ahead and pop off because they drew the Girsu. They make Nightmare Phoenix, and they target the field spell. At the time, I was thinking that they just didn't read the card correctly, but since the discard got World Chalice, or World Legacy World Armor in the grave so they could summon it with Succession, it was probably so they could use that so they could search Monstrosity. They're going to get Nightmare Phoenix to shuffle away one of our cards, then use Monstrosity to summon Har, which is a pretty big board. They don't have any negates, but any of our searches just get sent, or one of our searches causes us to send a card to the graveyard. On our turn, we'll go ahead and link into Almirage with Guard Dragon. Once we link 2 into Leave, we're going to search the Succession onto the field. We're going to play Pot of Avarice, looking for something to draw to win us the game, but instead I should have used the Succession to go ahead and get a link 2 to make Access Code Talker, but because I played Pot of Avarice first, I do not have a World Legacy card in grave to allow me to activate the set card. On their turn, they'll go ahead and make the Access Code Talker that we should have to punish us, and that is the game. So we lost once, but we're not out of the tournament just yet. We're paired with Red Eyes Jacolo, and you will notice that we have a Galaxy Cyclone in hand, despite it being game 1. There were some technical difficulties in the round beforehand. It was not set up for a match, so we had to side and save the deck going into a new round, and I didn't unchange the deck before this one, and I only just now noticed that when we drew our opening hands. I went into a bit of a panic, and instead of doing the honorable thing where I let my opponent know that I had messed up and that I should take the game loss, I instead opted to just not play the card and act like I only had a 4-card hand. A decision I took into my own hands without even consulting my opponent. I did lose this game, but that does not negate the fact that I did a very scummy thing, so I'm very sorry, Giocolo. I wouldn't blame you if you hold it against me. However, we are still in for a very fun match because Red Eyes Giocolo drew the letter B, which means they'll be playing Buster Blader. And yes, that does mean they'll be going into the extra deck lock quite a few times, something that's very frustrating as the person running the Link spam deck. They'll execute a combo that ends in their Link Monster, Buster Dragon, and a set card, but then during our draw phase they'll banish Destruction Sword Memories to fusion summon for Buster Blader the Dragon Destroying Swordsman, with Buster Dragon attaching the Dragon Destruction Sword to it, locking us out of our extra deck. We don't really do anything, so we let them go again. They'll go ahead and link into a 3-material Appaloosa before hitting us for 2400, and we keep sinking into that hole. At this point, we're stalling for something that'll get us out of this. We normal summon Chosen and link into Imduk. The extra normal summon is not an activated effect, so we can still do that to get to Chalice. We set one, and then we pass back to them. They'll go ahead and attack the Chalice, and we chain Infinite and Permanent so that the Chalice isn't negated by the Appaloosa, and we summon 2 Lees, but because Buster Dragon's on the field, we don't get any searches off of them. We'll go ahead and set a card, and then the Buster Dragon will re-equip another one of their Yarded Destruction Swords, and they'll go ahead and link into the Cyframe Link Monster before passing to us. We draw Kyoto Waterfront, so at some point we could get enough counters to search for Gamma Seal, then Kaiju over one of them so that we could do something, but we don't really have time because the Buster Blader Fusion does a lot of piercing damage, and we have to go to game 2. Thankfully, we are able to open up a pretty good combo this game, despite the fact that Gamma Seal decided to show up in the opening hand again. We're able to normal summon the World Chalice, and when we link it away, we're able to get 2 more material, which we can then make into a 4-material Saryuja. We have a lot of Chafe in that hand, so we're able to shuffle all of it away and get some pretty good cards. We get the Kyoto Waterfront and a Pot of Avarice, so we can shuffle away a lot of our Link monsters to get even more cards. Unfortunately, at this point, we don't have enough counters on it to search the Gamma Seal, so we have to use the Saryuja summon on the Mystic Shine Ball, but thankfully, we have a Transmodify to turn that into a Venus. We use its effect to summon 2 Mystical Shrine Balls out of the deck, and then we're going to go ahead and banish the World Chalice Guard Dragon out of our grave so we can summon the 3rd Mystic Shine Ball. We'll link into Link Spider, which gives us the materials to make Eve. Then we can link into IP Masquerena, set a couple of cards, and pass to our opponent. On their turn, they play Emblem of the Dragon Destroyer to search another Buster Blader, then set 2 Trap Trick. We'll activate a Cosmic Cyclone and banish one of their set cards. They'll activate the Trap Trick and set a Prologue of the Destruction Swordsman, and then we'll activate Saryuja's effect to summon from hand. They'll chain that Prologue to summon a Buster Dragon, but finally we have the Gamma Seal on board for the negates. We'll link into Access Code Talker, and after the attack boosts, we have enough material engraved to blow up the rest of their cards so that we can move in for game. In Game 3, Giocolo is going to go first, and they're going to do their darndest to lock us out of the game from the onset. They'll link into Halqifibrax to summon the Buster Whelp, then link into the Protector Whelp using its effect to send memories from deck to grave. They'll set 2 and then pass to us. On our turn, we play Kyoto Waterfront, and they'll chain the Trap Trick so they can set Prologue of the Destruction Swordsman to the field. We'll normal Mystic Shine Ball to turn it into an Imduk, use the extra normal summon to get World Chalice Guard Dragon, we'll link for Avram, then attack the Protector Whelp, but then they'll chain the Prologue and the memories together so they can make Buster Blader the Dragon Destruction Swordsman and Buster Dragon, using its effect to equip Destruction Sword from grave. We still attack over the Protector Whelp, and we use Kyoto Waterfront main phase 2 to get the Gamma Seal. Now we can't Kaiju one of their monsters without the Waterfront giving them a free negation body, so we Cosmic Cyclone our own field spell before Kaijuing them. We'll link into Ningirsu, set one of our evenly matched so that we can send both that and their Buster Dragon to the grave, then pass to them. Thankfully, they don't have a good follow-up play, so they'll set some cards and pass back to us. We normal summon Lee so that we can search a Beckon to use for later, then we'll use Ningirsu to send the Lee and one of their new set cards so we can attack them. Unfortunately, the grave effect of Prologue keeps their Destruction Sword safe, so we can't get rid of it. But they draw Buster Blader, so we got a whole other turn. We'll normal summon the Beckon and then attack over the Destruction Sword, and they'll use Ningirsu to send that and their other set card to the graveyard. But then they draw the interrupted Kaiju Slumber, and stuff goes bad for us again. Thankfully, we draw a Pot of Avarice, so we'll play that to recycle a lot of our cards and then dig deeper into our deck, and we're able to discard a card so we can get back Lee. We'll normal summon it so we can grab a Beckoned, but we don't have much else. We can't play the Kyoto Waterfront because we'll just give their Kaiju more power. They'll banish an Interrupted Kaiju Slumber to search another Kaiju, and they'll play 1-for-1 to summon Jet Synchron. They'll Synchron a Buster Dragon, using its effect to summon back one of their Buster Bladers, then use Jet Synchron's effect again so they can make Borreload Savage Dragon. They'll attack over the Lee for 3650, will activate Evenly Matched, but it's Borreload Savage Dragon. With nothing else, they pass back to us. Thankfully, we have the Infinite Impermanence in hand. We'll play that to bait the last negation, and then we'll activate Kyoto Waterfront to start getting counters again. We'll normal summon Mystic Shine Ball, then link into Link Spider, use its effect to summon Beckoned by the World Chalice, and then link 2 into Lib. That will search us World Legacy Succession, then we'll use Kyoto Waterfront to grab that Gamma Seal. We'll play the Succession to get the Ningirsu, and then we'll link into Access Code Talker again. Love seeing them! Lib will shuffle away the Borreload Savage, and then Access Code Talker will destroy the Buster Dragon. We'll attack for 5300 and then pass to them. They draw Destruction Sword Memories and pass back to us. We'll go ahead and activate Access Code Talker's effect to destroy their set card, and when we attack, that lets them use the Graveyard effect to Fusion Summon for Destruction Swordsman, but we're still able to attack over it. They'll draw another Memories and set it, pass back to us. We'll go ahead and activate Access Code again to destroy it because I didn't learn my lesson, but thankfully they don't have the material to activate its Grave effect again, and we take the match. These games are an example of what happens when the deck works at optimal efficiency. We're dueling up against Stardust Yu-Gi-Oh! And they drew the letter P. They opted to take the second name in the archetype, and they're playing Gimmick Puppets. Now, this hand isn't exactly crazy, but we do have the materials to make it work. We can turn Chosen into a Link Spider to get the Mystic Shine Ball out, and that's where Transmodify turns it into another copy of Venus. We don't get to summon all 3 copies of Mystic Shine Ball off their effect, but we do still have enough material to turn that Mystic Shine Ball into an Imduk, and then turn all of that into a ScrubTierYGO so we can dig deeper into our deck. We have enough of a board presence to make an Omni Negate in Gamma Seal, and an extra deck monster negate in Crown. Without a way to break past that, they concede. Our Game 2 hand is pretty similar. We start going through the combo like we did last time, except we start with the Venus this time. We summon 2 out of the deck, and then use 1 to make a Link Spider to summon the other one out of the hand to save us 500 life points, but at that point they see what I'm going for, and they concede. Our next match is up against Ukiradeka, and they got the letter H, so they'll be playing Hazy Flames. This hand is another example of a really good combo. Not only do we have the Unexpected Die to get a free material on board, we have the Lee, which can search Chalice, and then the Transmodify to turn it into a Venus, which turns into 3 more free material. 1 turns into a Link Spider, which summons a Chosen out of our hand, and then we're able to link into ScrubTierYGO to get not only free fresh draws, but also 2 monsters on board. We finally grab the Kyoto Waterfront, so we start linking some more so we can build up counters. And with some help from Guard Dragon, we're able to make Tri-Gate Wizard. At this point, we grab the Gamma Seal, we link for Ebe, and then we go ahead and use Succession to get Lib. At this point, we have a triple co-link Tri-Gate Magician, we got a Gamma Seal with enough counters for at least 1 negate, and we have an Infinite Impermanence. After drawing for turn, they concede. We'll go first again in Game 2, and we normal summon Mystic Shine Ball. We'll use it to link into Link Spider, then use its effect to summon Chosen from hand. We'll link that into Imduk to use the extra normal summon on Lee. They'll chain the Ash to the search, but we have the called by for that very situation. We'll link into Ib, then use Imduk's Grave effect to summon its baby form onto the field, link it into Anima, and then we have enough material to make Mechanite Crusadia Avermax. We'll go ahead and summon a card on the field just so that we can send it to the grave for Lee to reset it, set a card, and then pass to our opponent. Now, I don't know much about Hazy Flames, so it was a relief to know that Avermax was the correct play against this deck. The incorrect choice was citing in a There Can Be Only One, because after flipping it, I realized that all the Hazy Flames are different types, which is really cool. They're able to make Hazy Flame Basilatris, but their banishing effect does target, so they're not able to get around our big Link monster. We attack over Basilatris, absorbing its attack power, and then we summon the World Chalice World Crown to negate any other extra deck weirdness. We'll normal summon Lee to get a search, and they chain Called By to get rid of our Ebes, but that doesn't stop us very much. They'll go ahead and normal summon Cerberus and attack into our Avermax. It has a destruction effect that lets them search another monster, but then they pass back to us. On our turn, we swing with Avermax and end the game. Next up, we're against Reigning Card Games, and they drew the letter T, so we're up against Thunder Dragons. Thankfully, we opened Venus, even though we had the other Shine Ball in hand, but that's not too bad. We'll turn one of them into a Link Spider to save 500 life points, and then link 4 into ScrubTierYGO. Imduk will summon Guard Dragon out of our hand, and then we'll draw 4, but not get too much actually. We'll turn the Guard Dragon into Anima, just so that we can get another normal monster out of the grave, and then we'll special summon World Legacy World Crown out of our hand. We'll link 2 to make Masquerena, and then we'll link 2 again into Lib. Lib will search us the succession, and then we'll play that to get back World Legacy World Crown for the extra deck negate. We'll set 2 more, and then pass to them. On their turn, they'll lead with Tuning to search another Quick Draw Synchron, then discard the Thunder Dragon. I should have chained the Called By to this, but I was too worried about more impactful effects later on, so we miss a powerful opportunity. They link for Anima, and that forces the Infinite Impermanence so we don't lose our most powerful card, then we'll activate Thunder Dragon again to search another card. They'll discard to summon Quick Draw Synchron, and then banish the material for Levianeer. They'll summon Zolkin, and that forces our World Crown so we don't have to deal with that, and then they'll flip the Thunder Dragon Fusion to summon Titan. They'll attack over our Lieb and then pass to us. We'll activate Saryuja to summon the Gamma Seal out of hand. They'll chain the Matrix so they can destroy a card, but we chain the Called By to get rid of that so they don't get the attack boost. Thankfully, Gamma Seal has enough defense now so that they can't run over it, and we'll have Saryuja attack over the Anima so they can't steal it. Unfortunately, Thunder Dragon Fusion has that fun thing that lets them search Thunder Dragon cards. So after they summon a Dragon Duo, they search a Dragon Dark, discarding it to destroy our Gamma Seal, and then attack over our Saryuja, getting a little extra effect with Dragon Duo before attacking for game. In game 2, I do some weird side decking and let them go first, but they open a gold sarcophagus so they banish a Dragon Roar to summon a Dragon Dark, then discard a Hawk to summon back that Roar and then link into Varte Anaconda. The Dragon Dark will search them a Dragon Lord, they'll banish a card in hand to summon that Lord, and then use Varte Anaconda to send a Thunder Dragon Fusion to grave to summon Titan. At end phase, Dragon Lord will send Dragon Roar to grave, and then they'll pass to us. On our turn, we normal summon the Beckoned, and then they chain Dragon Lord's effect. This is really cool because Titan can't be targeted now, but this also banishes the Dragon Dark to search them a Dragon Matrix to make the Titan live when it otherwise wouldn't be. I'm a little panicky now, but we're able to get a Chalice onto the board. At this point, we get so many material that a single pop isn't really going to stop us at this point. We'll make the Lib and then search Succession. When we link into Link Spider, they'll discard the Matrix to try and pop a card, but Owl Mirage is a quick effect, so we chain block it. We'll link into Unicorn, and because we use Lieb as material, we can shuffle away the Lord and the Titan, and then we have the Pot of Avarice to reset a lot of those cards so that we can draw 2 more. We try to get more material on board, but then they drop Nibiru, and at this point we have nothing left, so we pass to them. They'll banish the Thunder Dragon Fusion and Grave on their turn to get the Dragon Duo, then they'll summon it, triggering 2 Thunder Dragon effects, getting a Matrix to hand and summoning a Dragon Dark to field. They'll link 2 into Masquerena, triggering the Dark to get them the Thunder Dragon Fusion, which they'll play again to get the Titan that we had worked so hard to get rid of. With Masquerena attacking over Nibiru, they'll attack us directly for 6,000 points of damage before linking into a 3-material Appaloosa and passing to us. At this point, we try to wear out their negations. We'll banish the Guard Dragon, it gets negated by Appaloosa. We banish the World Chalice, it gets negated by Appaloosa. We'll normal summon the Mystic Shine Ball, then play Transmodify to turn it into Venus, paying 1,000 life points to get the other 2 Mystical Shine Balls. We'll link one of them away for Imduk, then use the other one to tribute summon for Chalice. We'll link it away for the Owl Mirage, and that gets rid of the last of the Appaloosa negates. At this point, we'll play the Succession so we can get back to Unicorn, that way we can get the Lib, and then we'll just search a Sorrows out of our deck. Then we'll link into Mech Knight Abramax. We're able to use the Lieb to get rid of the Titan, and then we use Mech Knight to attack over the Appaloosa. But even though we just got some tempo back, we're still not done yet. They have Interrupted Kaiju Slumber, one of the few things that outs Abramax, and when we use its effect to shuffle away the Gamma Seal they gave themselves, they have another Thunder King in hand. They banish Thunder Dragon Fusion to get Matrix, to get Anima so they can absorb our Thunder King, but we've got the World Chalice Guard Dragon in hand to negate and destroy it. With nothing else, they pass back to us. Thankfully, we're able to banish the Chalice so that we can search a World Crown. We'll normal summon the Lee so that we can search a World Chalice, link into IP Masquerena, summon the Crown out of our hand, summon a Beckoned, and then we'll link into Ebe and then access Code Talker. We use its effect to get rid of the Thunder King, and through all of that, we managed to take Game 2. For Game 3, Raining let us go first, so we have to make a lock as soon as possible. We're able to do a Link Spider into an Imduk so that we contribute for the World Chalice, and then we can link that away into Owl Mirage to get the 2 free summons. This thankfully gives us a search off of Lee, and then we have enough material to make Saryuja to search for our counter picks. And hey, there's the Lancia. We go ahead and make Lieb so that we can grab Successions, and we'll use that to grab another material out of the grave. The point here is that even though we can't make a 3 co-link Trigate, but we do have World Legacy Sorrow, so that will be active. On their turn, they lead with the Gold Sarcophagus, and that's where the Lancia comes in. They try to Thunder Dragon, but we learned our lesson from Game 1, so we stop that. They use Thunder Dragon Hawk to put up a blocker, but with nothing else, they pass to us. Now at this point I'm kicking myself. We banish the World Chalice from grave and they negate it with Ash, and at this point I can win the game. If I use Saryuja to summon Lancia out of my hand in attack position, and then use Saryuja and Trigate Wizard to make an access code talker, it'll be able to target the Saryuja to put it at 6,300 attack points. With the Lancia boosted to 2,000 itself by the previous Saryuja, using access code talker to destroy the Thunder Dragon would have given us more than enough damage to close out the game. But my brain didn't really register that Lancia was a monster that could deal damage, just as a hand trap that could stop certain plays. But instead of doing that, we just go to battle phase, deal some damage, and then link into Avermax as a way to keep ourselves safe until we get a real play starter. They play Allure of Darkness, and we chain Lancia thinking we can get them to discard their entire hand, but the most recent wording of it doesn't actually let you do that if you can't banish at all. This gives them the opportunity to combo off very hard. They make the Cross Sheep and the Thunder Dragon Titan, the Cross Sheep allows them to summon back the Solar, and they link into Boral Sword Dragon for the OTK. Now just to be clear, I didn't go on that diatribe earlier just to make excuses for myself or anything. I misplayed and my opponent punished me for it. That's half of Yu-Gi-Oh! And Reigning Card Games did an excellent job of capitalizing that to win. So they totally earned it, and I hope that nothing that I said implied otherwise. It was more to highlight an example of how important it is to really understand the full range of what your cards can do, rather than pigeonholing them into specific roles. I treated Lancia as a spell card that could only do its effect, and not as a monster that could have helped win a game. Hopefully in the future, I can do better.
And that was my run. I had a lot of fun learning combos and finding out ways to build a board when things didn't quite go my way, not to mention the variety of scenarios I had to adapt to. It also did a good job of really crystallizing the next thing I need to do to improve as a duelist. I need to learn to think outside the box. I have a hard time with hyper-focusing on certain concepts or play sequences that I end up just ignoring other paths that might lead to victory. Now I just need to find a way to train that, but I guess there's no substitution for experience. Once again, big shout out to everyone that I dueled, ScrubTierYGO for the helpful resources, and Cypher Cards for taking on the task of hosting this beast of a tournament. Links are in the description if you want to check them out and see the minds behind these prolific plays. But now, I want to hear from all of you. For these long-term tournaments, would you like to see these replays as soon as possible, or do you like the compilation format where you get to see them all at once? And did you see any better play sequences I could have done that I haven't touched on? Let me know in the comments, and if you enjoyed, please make sure to like and subscribe. Thank you all so very much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.